it's getting perfect scores all over the bloody place. I would say, admittedly, that's surprising. Like, it's kind of like, I expected as much.
I expected as much. Certain website in Serbia didn't like it and got death threats and shit for giving it a 7.5, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, gamers aren't the best when it comes to exactly, like, opinions and stuff. It's like, well, if you don't agree with us, it will just rip you to pieces, regardless if you've played it or not. But this game is definitely an excellent Mario game.
Very much so.
It's like, I don't even know where to start in the sense of... One thing actually, not one thing, it's like maybe one of the best things about this game
One thing, except the best thing.
Yeah, is the surprisingness of this game, in the sense of, there are so many times where I'm just going around the world or whatever, and I see a moon or whatever, and I go, how do I get that moon? I'm just like, I just think I'm like, I don't know how to get it. Like, there's nothing I can see that I currently have that can do it. And then you progress through the level, and then suddenly there's this creature that you get, and you go, oh shit, that's how you get that one. And then it's so fresh. Like these new mechanics bring. Like it's like you go, oh, it's a gimmick, but it's way more than a gimmick. Like it just changes like Mario's entire like functionality basically.
Very much so, because there's all these little hidden levels that require you to control certain things and use their mechanics to complete as well. And you do that a lot, and it's never boring. It's always, you're always like, what's this going to be like? And it's like in the initial bit you control a frog, and that is like, you jump really high and you're like, this is fun. I want to play as a frog now. The whole game as a frog.
And the frog, have you gone back to that area? Like the very first area with the frog? Yeah,
no,
I went back because you can't go back until, I think, after the third kingdom. But when I went back, there are a couple of those type of things where I'm like, how do I get this one? I'm like, oh shit, there's the frogs that can jump really high.
Yeah, because you look at, you're given like that big list, and you're like, how do I do all this in this level? It's like, it seems way longer than what you think is possible with the space you're in sometimes.
And sometimes it's surprising just like how little they are everywhere. It's just like, I just picked up like 4 in the matter of a minute. Just because there's like one in a rock, and there's another one just like literally around the corner. Yeah, and there's another one's like, just turn this creature and like jump a couple of things and you've got it. Like it is surprisingly how fast you get these moons. Like it is very, very quick.
And it never feels like annoying or like you're just collecting them all the time, which not always, but it never feels like it's dulling the experience either, which for them to have managed that with how many you're collecting is a feat in itself.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because it always does feel like it's telling you to go to this location, but at the same time, it's like, here's a different pathway, and that pathway is so compelling that you're like, oh, I'll just do that too, and I'll collect 6 moons while I'm doing it.
It's so weird that there's like, this is one of those games where I don't want to go the right way. I'm heading the right way. If I go this way, there's probably something down there that I want to find. Like, you're thinking that all the time.
It was so weird, because I started originally, and I'm like, alright, I'm going to collect everything. And then, after I realized that if you don't do the main, what they're basically telling you to do, the main purpose, you're locked off certain sections. Like, they block them off or change things. Yeah, so one of the very first areas you go to, in particular, I explored every single section of that before getting to the top. And more times I'm like, this is weird that all this stuff's blocked off. Like, I can see rocks blocking off passageways. And then, once I did it, suddenly all those blocks were revealed, and suddenly you go into all these secret doors and to gain all these different moons and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I should always do the main path, then do the collectible and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too when I started doing.
That's how I felt. But then as I progressed through the game, I still end up doing the exact same thing, because so often you're just drawn to the other area. Like, oh, let's just do this stuff.
There's just something about it. You just want to know. You just want to go each and everywhere. Just even though you might not be able to get to it yet, you're like, but I want to know what's over there.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't think, well, from where I play at least, there's like any abilities that are like you unlock later that suddenly allow you to do something. It's always just there's just a creature in that area somewhere that will allow you to get there. And I guess the aforementioned that sometimes they basically want you to complete the main thing, so then the area changes a little bit that allows you to get some of those extra ones.
They never block off too many. I mean, the level you mentioned earlier, they do, but that's about it. Yeah,
and that's the main time I really felt that way, because often they just don't show you in the later ones. Like, they don't even appear to be paths you can go down. Or it'll be like, oh, there's just something, it doesn't exist. There's not a character there that even allows you to do that start yet. So you don't even consider it. Where in the first one, there are a lot of times, not the first one, but the second area you go to. I didn't want to spoil like some of these areas where it's like, I mean, it's kind of like hard not to.
We will talk about them, but we won't talk about them in the order in which you play them.
Yeah, and the first couple, at least, if you've been following any of the Nintendo stuff, you have seen the first couple areas before. Not the order, necessarily, but you have seen them in some way. But, yeah, that earlier one definitely had those blocks, and then later ones I haven't really noticed it as much, even though you win the bit and then you go, oh, now this guy exists here for some reason. This is the character. One thing I wanted to mention was the customization aspect of Mario 2.
Oh, I love all the customization options. I always make sure I go to the shop ASAP and buy whatever's there. Priorities.
It's funny how like it's such a small thing. I was like, you can just customize your character, but it does add a lot. Just the idea that you can visualize Mario a bit, where it's like, oh, there you can make him be this, like the mafia dude, or the
make a
like
Mexican,
top hat, the Mexican one, the explorer one. There's just like so many different. I mean, they're all like not stereotypes, but they're obvious like things.
Oh yeah, one's obviously a cowboy. There is a scientist hat that gives you really like hair all over the place. I'm not sure if that's a reference to Doc from Back to the Future or Rick and Morty, just because of how it just looks the same kind of
so
color.
it's the Einstein like crazy hair type thing.
Yeah, Einstein kind of thing too. Yeah, it's like all those. It's like mad scientist hair.
Okay, I haven't bought that one, but I have. Well, actually, no, I have bought that one. I just haven't equipped it. I did not realize it had the hair to go.
No, I just thought it looked like a little stupid hat. I was like, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
but it won't be anything cool. And then I put it on. I was like,
there was another one. There was a caveman one I had that has like the Cooper bone, like it's basically dry bones skull. The dry bone one, I equipped it, and then so I really loved it when it was dry bone, but then I actually didn't like it as much when it was revealed that it's got a huge mop of hair. It's because you're basically a caveman. So you get this giant like caveman hair. Like, I did not expect that. Yeah, didn't expect it at all. I did like that how Cappy's like eyes change, like depending on what the hat actually is. Like his location's different.
Sometimes it's pretty funny what he is.
Yeah, like the dry bones, it obviously goes in the eye sockets. I know I had like scuba gear I had, and he like appears
they
in the scuba
appear
mask.
as the goggles. Yeah.
Yeah. It's often cool where they place the It's not consistent, which is good. Like it's not like every single hat has the exact same place when the cap is. Like it often fits whatever the design.
Yeah, he manages. Cappy's pretty good at fitting what he needs to fit in.
In general, it is just basically for customizing Mario. Like, there are some exceptions, and really there's an exception in every level, at least from what I can tell, where there's always one door that's blocked by a specific costume. Like, you have to have that costume to get in.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me as well.
Yeah, well, everyone I've gone to has one. I've never seen more than one. And I suspect, unless they change it suddenly mid-game or later game or whatever, that's probably what they stick with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. As far as I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know how much it changes. Like, suddenly, like, everything might be different later on. But right now, what I played, and similar what you played as well, which you are further than me. We've talked in very vague terms, but I told you where I was up to, and you said you're further, so I'm like, I just believe you. I guess.
Should we talk about the worlds?
Yeah, the worlds itself. From the worlds you've gone to, what would be your favorite one?
My favorite one, the desert really grew on me. Like, I really enjoyed that desert level more than I expected to, because I spent probably the longest there so far. I just love how this world is designed, in the fact you see something in the distance, like you want to go climb it. It's very like Breath of the Wild feeling to me. Like, you can see it there, and you're like, there's going to be something up there, I'm going to go find out. So you have that experience throughout the whole game, throughout any level you go to.
Yeah, and because that sand level one is so large, it's surprising how often, regardless of any direction you go, it's like there is always something there. Like, it's never just like, it's just blank desert. It's like, if you just go that way, there's something there. If you go that way, there's something there.
There's always something around for almost every corner, by the feeling of it. Especially in the city.
Right, yeah. I haven't, well, rather, I've just seen the city, so I haven't gone into the city yet to see, like, that. But obviously, that's the one they showed off constantly in the...
Yeah, but you were in for a treat. There's some stuff in there that's just like, this is great.
So have you completed that city? Oh,
yeah, I've completed it. I've moved on. Further ahead than that. But the city experience is probably... There's so much cool stuff in that city that I'm gonna obviously keep a surprise because you haven't played it.
Yeah.
And it's great. There's some really, really awesome part.
That's one thing I really like, is that it also pulls from like Mario's histories a lot. So it'd be like, even the desert one, like, the eagle in the sky, I'm like, that's Mario 64, like, straight up. Like, in the Sand Kingdom level, there's that damn eagle that flies around that steals your hat. And you have to, like, take it to get the star. Exactly that. As soon as I'm like, that, it's not the same thing, but it is very much that nostalgia. Like, it's not the same game, but I saw it, I'm like, that reminded me of Mario 64 straight away. There
are parts of Sunshine I found as well, in terms of, like, giving me back, like, oh, I remember this. And...
Yeah, and it feels like that. Like, it's almost like it's not a remaster of any of them, but it's got like all these connections that aren't just like the flat out, it's just a Mario game. So of course there's always familiarities between them. It's like, no, there are some key of the main one. So I'd probably go like 64, Sunshine, which I haven't played admittedly, and Galaxy. It's got some of those vibes in different spots, but it's still uniquely their own in
Yeah, especially because of how you get through the levels, you control stuff, which hasn't been done in Mario, and in fact really hasn't been done in most platformers, because there was one, which was, I forget the name, you're on a space station, it was for like 64 and that, where you're a little battery thing.
Yeah, and you can
control
it's like microchip, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a microchip and you control other things. That is the only one I have an example for, and like, that one wasn't that great, let's just be honest.
I remember it looked horrible.
It did look horrible, it wasn't great, but like, it had that where you control stuff and you had to do that to solve puzzles. Whereas this one is the same thing. Whereas like compared to Banjo-Kazooie, you just transform into something, and then you can do like 1 or 2 different things. But this one is just like, it's added to the platforming of you need to be this to get over that and stuff.
And because there's so many of them too, like there are just so many different creatures to interact with that can do different stuff in the same level that often it's like not clear how to get things to begin with. It's like, wait, do I have something I already know of that I can get that with? Like, is there a frog in this level? Oh, is there just a new creature that I haven't seen before that can just do something awesome to get me there?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing to control is Goombas. Because you just spend a lot of the time making Goomba towers.
The Goomba towers is like something I've noticed, like in later levels, like they start to return a lot. Where it's like, here's the Goomba tower thing again, which isn't bad because it's good, but it's one of those things where I don't know if it's every level's going to feature a Goomba tower now, but I've started to notice once I first saw them, it's Goomba tower. There is a Goomba tower in each one.
Yeah, that's not always the case, but there is a Goomba tower every now and then. You know, gotta respect the Goomba tower. God.
Yeah, there's one of the ones I really liked was turning into the not the Shy Guy, but the you know the guy in the Mario Kart.
Oh, the Lakitu,
the light guy. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but the guy, the light thing that. Yeah, just seeing that guy, and I'm like, oh man, I want to turn him, and he essentially he fishes, and it's just one of those things where they never tell you how to use him, but you just intuitively go, oh, it's like it's not even straightforward in like the way of like, oh, there's water here. The fish aren't in the water. Like I'm not even gonna spoil how like where the fish are, but it's like it's just this one of these things where it's like I'm like. I expected, like, okay, you just fish for things in the water. There's a pond here. It's like, oh, wait, there's no fish, though. I'm like, but I'm trying to see fish, and now I'm like, I'm sure how this works. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how. And that's something I feel all the time in this game. It's like, they don't tell you how to do stuff, but I just work it out. And it's not, like, it's a puzzle game, really, but just so many times it's just like, how do I get that thing? Not sure. And then next thing you go, oh, no, I've worked out. You just have to do this to get there.
Yeah, there's been a few moments where I've gone, oh, I'm an idiot. I knew this is how you do it. It's like I was trying something stupid the whole time. It's just, okay, I just do this and I get it. Cool.
Yeah. As opposed to, like, often Mario was more like, either get the right camera angle, or it was more platforming, just challenges, where it's like, make this jump up these walls, etc., and you'll get it. Where this one, often it's not obvious, but often you can see them. Like, it's like, there it is. How do I get it though? Like Mario doesn't have enough abilities to get there. It just has got them.
You might see a thing of this and go, maybe I can do that little leap over there, but most of the time you won't.
And then sometimes it's just surprising what shows up. It's like, oh, okay, that's not how I thought I was going to get here. I'm like, okay, I have to do some. Oh, because so many times I go, it's got to be like really good Mario skills. It's like, okay, I have to just time all these jumps perfectly and I'll make this. I'll do really far leaps, do the hat move and then like bounce off the hat midway and that kind of stuff. And then it's like later on you just get these other creatures that I won't spoil, but it's like, oh, you can just get there with that. I'm like, oh, okay. That's not how I thought you do this.
That's not my initial plan for that, but yeah.
But one of the other modes which is really cool is the integration of the 8-bit sections in the game itself.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. And it makes all the same sounds and... But from the fact you can't go to Little Mario?
Yeah, you can't go to Little Mario. And one thing I noticed later when I started mix and matching the costumes is that when you mix and match, it doesn't do your custom character in it. It just goes to classic Mario.
But what if you have both? Do you turn into that kind of Mario, or do you just stay as default?
Yeah, that's right. If you're both, so if you've got both Explorer Mario, you become Explorer Mario in 8-bit form.
Oh, it's so cool, but I've never done a full set because I always love combining them.
Yeah, and that was one thing I'm like, I wish it's so awesome they have the combined thing doing, and just all the sections just in general are so cool. But I'm like, I wish they allowed you to do the combination because that would just be one step cooler. But yeah, it defaults to.
My custom Sailor Captain Mario with the captain's hat and the scientist vest doesn't really work in that mode.
It's so cool, just the transition and how it fits. Like it's well, I'm pretty sure that it was directly from the Link Between Worlds 3DS game.
Where they got the idea for this? I assume so.
Yeah, I assume so. I assume so too. Like it was essentially the same idea where Link forms into the wall and then goes around, bends and stuff in the 3D plane, but you're in a 2D plane at the same time. Like I don't know if we explained that well, but sometimes they mix it up too. Because the one I did later had this gravity shift.
Which there's like a whole new mechanic in this little mode. There's this little part of the game. They decided to add all these new mechanics and make it like a full thing just because they could.
Yeah. And when you form out of the wall, it's suddenly like the creatures you go back into 3D form, and creatures go back into 3D.
Oh yeah, they
form.
do.
So
like a Bullet Bill, he'll come out.
Yeah,
as well.
that's the first time I show you that, and I'm like, I don't know if it's the only time I've seen it. I can't recall, but regardless, that's the first time I remember seeing it, and that it's so cool. Like, oh shit, they come out of the wall too, and then you can form into them, and then it changes like the game completely. I love it. It's such a cool idea, and it's one of those things where I'm so looking forward to see what future levels hold, like how much they change it, because every single one of the platforming bits they add something new and then change something.
Yeah, every single time.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I'm looking forward rather to whatever those surprises are as they kind of change things and add new mechanics. So it's like this thing. It's like it's not new in moveset. You have Mario's moveset off the bat, which, by the way, is new and improved.
Oh yeah,
like yeah, his combat abilities are way more than they used to be in the sense of Cappy can like do all these like spiral wheel things and shoot like a boomerang half the time, which is efficient at cleaning up some of the grunty bad guys that you can't kill. Like they've got these yellow Goombas. Yeah, I think they're Goombas. They're just tiny.
They are Goombas. They're definitely Goombas. They just drop gold coins.
Yeah. So those ones are like often sharper than those ones you can't turn into, but they're you can very efficiently destroy them, kill them,
eradicate them.
Yeah. But the actual like in terms of the momentum, he's got the roll dash.
Roll, yeah.
Which I didn't use until a while. Like I wish I used it a lot more in the Sand Kingdom because I wasn't. But later on, when I started to kind of master the roll, now I'm like, man, I wish I used the roll all the time in the Sand Kingdom.
I wish I rolled there, but
yeah. But you do get this cool like ride that is very efficient in that area anyway. But the rolling would have helped, I think, just to make, move around the area efficiently because there are so many hills. And
yeah,
when you're in the
keep
roll form,
on rolling. Rolling.
There's a new butt pounce thing, which is bigger than I think the usual highest one. So his usual highest used to be the like duck backflip thing. That used to be highest. Now he can do a butt pounce. It's literally it does like an upper punch thing, and it goes higher than what the backflip used to do.
Yeah, I did notice that. He just goes whoop.
And once again, one of those things I just randomly discovered. Like I think very late. Like only recently they even told you that moveset. Like I think you go into this action guide and they tell you the moveset. But I didn't do that. But the game itself,
you get reminded of every single second. Every time you go into the thing.
It's like infamously Nintendo, where it's like they're not telling you to take breaks all the time, which is surprising, but they are telling you the moves a lot of. Where it's like look at the action guide to learn the moves. I'm like, I know the moves, damn it. Oh, I'll work them out as I go along.
Come on, guys. The action. Oh, it's for people who don't work it out.
Yeah, and even then, they still they tell you later in the game where it's like, here's a sign, read the sign, here's the new move, and they have a little tutorial video in the corner, and they still have them up to where I am currently. I don't know if I've covered all technical moves. Like there might be a move later I haven't realized I could do.
They start to drop off. I haven't seen one in a while. I'll just tell you that much.
It makes sense unless they explain the creatures that you turn into, or the monsters or whatever. In general, I like his moveset, and I think it's one of those things where, like, Cappy, I think, so good. I'm like, now I just want him to be able to do that all the time. Like, in future Mario games, just be able to use his hat as a weapon. Like, I don't know they have to re-implement the, like, transformation, like turning into creatures stuff. That might become a gimmick if they really do use it all the time. But I wouldn't say I'd be objective.
Unless they use it in unique and interesting ways each time, like they are currently doing.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, I have faith in Nintendo. It's like, man, they could just do an Odyssey 2. It's just building on this again. Just more of the same. Just still Odyssey, turning into different creatures.
Yeah, just take it to another level, like Galaxy 2 it up. Because like you've got people established with this game, and then you just kind of go nuts with it.
Yeah, just do build on everywhere. It's like it's weird because this game's already like so super polished. Like it's like already like perfect off the bat. So it's like if you did a sequel, like how good would that be?
Don't change a single thing in the controls, but.
It's great. Like it is just a really good game in practically every way. Is there anything you wanted to add, Mitch, or anything else?
I'm struggling to find faults in it. If I'm gonna look for faults, it's gonna be nitpicking, and it's really
nitpicking because
it's like as I mentioned, isn't as good as I hope. It's just like this little tiny thing. You're like, but does that truly matter?
It's like, as I mentioned with the 8-bit form, where it's like you don't have the costumes if they're mixed. I'm just like, that's such a small thing that they didn't even implement to begin with.
It's more like an oversight than anything else. You're not going, well, that's kind of ruined the whole game for me. I don't like
something I really love is the unique stuff that Mario does when he explores the world. Like they have different animations. So one thing I noticed was when you run into a cactus, he gets like cactus needles, I guess, on his nose. No, in his nose, like stuck in his nose.
That sounds
like
painful.
stuck in his nose.
Oh, Mario.
It does look painful, and it's funny because I did it, and then the first time I noticed was when I got collected a moon, and he's had the needles in his. So I'm like, oh shit, like that changed. And there's another bit where I went through some smoke, and afterwards he's like covered in like dust and stuff. So there's all these little things that I definitely lost on you if you play it on the portable version, I noticed. Because at one point I used to try it, play it portably, and Mario was so small that you can't see all these little details. But when you play it on a bigger screen, it's definitely possible to see like all the little things they've just put into Mario's animation. Like even his idle animation.
His idles change depending on where you are, or the situation he's in as well. So he could dance depending if there's music, or if he's in a cold place, he shivers.
There is one thing I'm curious about, and it's one of those things where right now you can't do it, but I wonder what happens down the line when they win the game, even if it resets, because in previous Mario games you could always reselect like stars to do or whatever.
Yeah, and this one, it doesn't seem like it. There are certain like more proper like levels in the fact you've given a full objective, you go do this, and I've no idea how you replay those.
They're the one I'm talking about, because like there are just moons around and they just reappear, but they're just like grayed out, so you can still collect them, get coins, but they don't count, they don't count towards anything.
Yeah.
But the ones you're talking about is the same ones I'm like, I often sometimes like playing one to even just like show someone like, oh, how cool this is, and sometimes I like it because they'd add in like a speed challenge or something, which that's the thing. This game is, I don't know if I'd say the easiest Mario, but it's because there's no real lives anymore, like you just lose coins all the time, it definitely, basically, you don't have to worry about dying at any point. Like, dying doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I don't even think, like, normally I would go as kind of a negative, how it feels like you're never being punished, except that the game is going for a feeling of, like, fun. Like, it doesn't want anything, like, taking that away from you. Whereas, like, maybe before you would like challenge, but it doesn't necessarily need it, It's
just straight up jolliness from start to finish. Oh, I haven't won the game or anything, but from up to this point, not once have I gone, I'm a bit sick of this. It's just like, every time I'm like, this is fun. It's just always fun.
Yeah, I'm a bit further ahead and I'm still feeling it. I'm like, this is always fun. I'm always having a good time.
Mario games, like, I can't imagine this would drop the ball, is once you win the game, there's always these crazy difficult worlds to unlock that are basically like collect everything, and then you get these really challenging levels, and I expect this game will do it too, because it's basically like, you win the game, that's for most people, if you want to do the really hard stuff, then we just gate lock it under these like moons or whatever, and I suspect that's what this game will do. I don't know what it's going to do.
I don't know either.
I'm excited. I'm excited for what the end game's going to be. And even some of the little doors you go through are challenging, so like sometimes they throw a couple of curveballs at you to make it more difficult than normal, but in general, it's not a tough game by any means. It's just fun. Just go out and enjoy the world, kind of thing.
Yeah, that is the point. Go out and have an Odyssey.
Have an Odyssey. Regardless, like, if anyone's listening to this who hasn't like checked out for some reason one of those other random places that are almost certainly talking about how excellent this game is as well, pick it up, because it is really good.
It is really good. It is a console seller, to be honest.
Yeah, for me it was a console seller. Like,
literally, we've got evidence.
Mario, funny enough, like, I actually kind of like the franchise of Zelda more, but when I look at the Nintendo consoles I buy, it's almost always for a Mario game, almost every single time. I bought the Wii for the 3D World. I thought 3DS for the what was that one called? I can't remember what that one was called actually. The Mario
3D World?
something? No.
What
was the one on Wii U one? They're very similar names.
Is it? I think it is 3D World and it's 3D Land on 3DS.
Yeah, that's right. It's something like that. It's basically the same time.
Land was always the Game Boy version, I think.
Maybe, yeah, that might be right. But it's always, by the way, the 3D ones. I'm not the biggest fan of the 2D ones. I know it's like that's often I haven't saying the most popular one, but a lot of people think it's like the pinnacle. Like, I don't like the 2D platforming as much in Mario for some reason. The 3D, I love it. Love it to death. It pretty much doesn't get better than 3D Mario, honestly. In terms of platforming, can't think of anything else.
I mean, I recently finished and getting a review out of a hat in time, probably by the time this is out. And I thought that was really good, and now I've played Odyssey and I'm like, Mario's better.
Yeah. Not that that's surprising, like, with obviously the Nintendo push and like the legacy of them, but still the Hat in Time's caliber, like, you even considered for a second that it could be as good as Odyssey. Like, it says Hat in Time's a really good game too.